You know that specific moment.
Scrolling through the listings. A sofa, well-made, good fabric, the kind of piece that would cost $1,200 at the store it came from, listed for $180. Barely used, owner moving abroad, available this weekend. And you message immediately. Not because it is the only option, because it is the obvious one. The same quality, a fraction of the price, already broken in, already exactly what it is, without the premium for the tag and the receipt. And somewhere across town, someone else is walking into a furniture store for the third time this month, trying to decide between the sofa that costs $1,200 and the one that costs $14, as though the newness were part of what they were buying, as though a sofa anyone had sat on before said something they did not want their home to say. While yours arrives on Saturday, and the room looks exactly like you wanted it to look. And the number was 180. Here is what almost nobody calculates about buying furniture new. The furniture is never just the furniture. A sofa is a sofa. A dining table is a dining table. A bookshelf holds books, regardless of whether it came from a showroom or a listing on a secondhand app the weekend someone was moving abroad. The function does not change. Often, the comfort does not change. What changes is the origin, and the origin has a price, charged at the moment of purchase, that has nothing to do with how the piece performs over the years that follow. The moment furniture leaves the store, it loses value. Not gradually, not over years of use, immediately, the day of purchase, in the same way a new car loses value the moment it leaves the lot. A sofa worth $1,200 in the showroom is worth considerably less than that the moment it is in the living room. What was purchased was not just the sofa. It was the sofa plus the newness. And the newness evaporated on the way home. And the person who buys that sofa secondhand 2 years later for $180 in excellent condition, already exactly what it is not getting a lesser object. They are getting the sofa after the newness has already been paid for by someone else at full price on the way out of the store. Nobody at the furniture store itemizes the bill, the cost of the object, and the cost of it having never been anyone else's. You only meet the full picture later, in the quiet arithmetic of a home assembled entirely from new things that cost twice what they needed to, for a quality that was available at half the price, if the origin had not mattered. There is a name for why new furniture feels better than used furniture, even when they are the same piece, in the same condition, at different prices. Researchers call it the Endowment Effect. The principle, documented extensively in behavioral economics by Kahneman, Thaler, and others, shows that people place disproportionately high value on things they already own or have chosen as their own, relative to identical objects they have not. Applied to furniture, the resistance to a secondhand sofa is not about the sofa. It is about what ownership from new provides. The feeling that the object is entirely yours, chosen by you, beginning with you. The same sofa chosen secondhand carries none of that. It is just a sofa, which is, of course, what both of them are. Still buying used furniture is not a refusal of quality. It is the recognition that the premium for newness in furniture is not tracking quality. It is tracking a narrative that depreciates the moment it is bought. And the endowment effect found an entire industry waiting for it. For years, the furniture retail market has been designed around one moment, the new beginning. First home, new city, getting married, starting over. Every one of these transitions arrives with the cultural expectation that the next chapter begins with new things. And the stores are positioned at exactly that moment, selling the feeling of beginning alongside the furniture itself. Still buying used furniture is not missing the beginning. It is the specific understanding that a sofa does not know whether it is a first home or a second one. Only the person buying it does, and only for a moment, before the sofa simply becomes the sofa in the room. And the numbers confirm what the listing price already showed. Furniture loses 20 to 30% of its value immediately at purchase, before it has been sat on once. After 2 or 3 years of normal use, a sofa that retailed for $1,200 appears in the secondhand market for $150 to $300, in excellent condition, structurally identical, performing the same function at 12 to 25% of the original price. 3 forces. A mind that attaches the story of the decision to the object and prices the story as though it were furniture. An industry positioned at exactly the moment when the cultural script says new things are the right things. And a secondhand market offering the same object, the story already spent, at a fraction of what the story originally cost. It was there, the first listing. A dining table, solid wood, the kind that would have cost $800 at the store, listed for $90. Owner downsizing, excellent condition, available immediately, and the specific moment of realizing that the table in the listing was better than anything in the price range being considered new, and would arrive looking exactly like a table that had been chosen carefully and cost considerably more. It was there, the living room, assembled over 6 months from a sofa found on a Sunday afternoon, a coffee table from someone clearing a flat before a move, a lamp that was exactly right and cost $14, and a guest arriving and saying, "Your place looks great. It must have cost a fortune to set up." And the actual number, said simply, landing the way that kind of number lands when it does not match what the room looks like. It was there, the furniture store. Walked through out of curiosity after the living room was already done, and seeing the sofa that was almost identical to the one already at home, with a tag that was 9 times what had been paid, and the specific quality of being on the right side of that particular arithmetic without having planned to be. It was there, the year of noticing how many people in the same phase of life were spending thousands on furniture that would look exactly the same as what was already in the room, and carrying the debt of it into the months that followed, quietly, in the same way the premium for newness always disappears without announcement. These are not people who live in homes that look provisional. Most of them have rooms that look considered, comfortable, put together in the specific way that comes from choosing things carefully, rather than buying everything at the same store on the same weekend. What they do not have is the assumption that a new beginning requires new furniture, that the quality of a home is connected to the receipt behind anything in it. They are the person who, when someone admires the sofa or the dining table or the lamp in the corner, gives an answer that slightly surprises, not because they are proud of the saving, not because they want to make a point, but simply because it is accurate. Facebook Marketplace. Someone was moving. It was $90. And the person asking looks at the sofa again, at the fabric, the condition, the way it sits in the room, and reassembles what they assumed about the home and the person in it, and how much it cost to make it look this way. That is not someone who couldn't afford the alternative. That is someone who looked at what the alternative was charging for the same object with a different origin and found that the origin was not worth the difference. They do not feel the pull of the showroom at the moment of a new beginning. That pull was examined, found to be entirely about the narrative of the moment and not at all about the furniture itself, and set aside, without drama, the first time a listing offered the same quality at 1/10 of the price. Now, finally, the objection. There's something to buying new. You know the history. You know it hasn't been damaged in ways that don't show. Some things should just be yours from the beginning. This is not about every piece of furniture in every home. There are categories where buying new makes sense. A mattress, a chair used for 10 hours a day, something where condition genuinely matters in ways that cannot be assessed from a listing and a viewing. Nothing here argues against those. This is about the default, the assumption that furnishing a home means buying everything new.
From a store at full retail price at the exact moment the cultural script says a new beginning requires new things. And the the history argument carries less weight than it assumes. Most secondhand furniture is sold not because something is wrong with it, but because the owner is moving, downsizing, or replacing it with something different. The history of a well-maintained sofa in excellent condition is visible in the condition itself. And after inspecting it carefully, there is rarely anything to doubt. The people who still buy used furniture are not accepting an unknown risk. They are simply refusing to pay for certainty about something that was never uncertain. The quality of an object that is already in front of them. Already exactly what it is. Here is what most people get backwards. The person who furnishes a new home entirely from retail, who walks through the showroom, selects everything new, pays for the narrative of a fresh start alongside the furniture itself, is not getting better furniture. They are getting the same furniture at a price that includes something that evaporated the moment they drove it home. The newness, charged once, worth nothing the day after. The person who still buys used furniture is not compromising. They are buying the object, the actual piece, the material, the function, the design, after the newness premium has already been paid by someone else at full price on the way out of a store that is no longer relevant to how well the sofa holds its shape or how the table sits in the room. Most people furnish their homes as though the newness is part of what they are buying. These people furnish their homes as though the furniture is.
And the room looks the same. The number at the end does not. There is a moment people who still buy used furniture all describe in almost the same way. It is not the first listing. It is not the first room assembled from things that cost a fraction of what new would have cost. It is an ordinary afternoon in a room that looks like someone chose everything carefully. The sofa, the table, the lamp that was $14 and looks like it cost considerably more. And realizing, briefly, that nothing in the room knows where it came from. Only the number knows. And the number, compared to what the same room would have cost assembled from new, is the kind of difference that becomes visible when put somewhere else. An emergency fund, a year of investing, the thing that was not possible. Before the furniture stopped needing to be new. Not because new is always wrong, because the story of the beginning was never stored in the sofa. The label was never the point. What the room looked like and what it cost to make it look that way said everything. 10 years from now, nobody asks where the sofa came from. They ask whether the room ever felt like home, and whether you ever once paid for the newness of something that stopped being new the day it arrived. Do you still buy used furniture? Or does a new beginning always mean buying everything new? Drop it below. We read every single one.